We're excited for game week. We're excited that I know our players are excited as well to have the opportunity to play a great program with great tradition like the University of Southern California. This is always a sort of a bowl-like atmosphere when you play in these first game neutral site games, which I know our players will be very excited about. And I think opening game successes come from more from an internal scoreboard in terms of, where are we relative to doing things that we need to do to play winning football? Are we getting the kind of attention to detail, discipline, focus, so that when you sit down at the end of the day, you say, regardless of what the score was, good, bad, indifferent, did I play to my standard? Did we play to our standard? Are we doing things relative to the standard that we have created for each individual player, for my unit, for our units, and you measure yourself based on that, not what anybody else thinks or anybody else says. And I think that's really, really important for our football players and our football team, especially at this point, because there's no identity at all. Regardless of what's been said, voted on, or anything else, it means nothing in terms of what we need to try to create as an identity as a football team. So, Southern Cal has got an outstanding team, in my opinion. Clay Helton has been there for a good while, and they've been very productive offensively under him. They have 9 starters back on offense, which very, very good offensive team. I mean, a couple of really good runners. Juju Smith is as good at receivers we're going to play against all year. Their offensive line has a whole bunch of starts between them, and they're very quality football players. They've been able to run the ball effectively, against most people that they've played. So I know they have a new quarterback, but he's a very talented guy, and I'm sure he'll do a great job for him. Defensively, all word is that they're much improved. They've got a new coordinator. He's done a good job with these players. They've got an influx of new players. So they've got some very talented guys on special teams as well. Great returner, very explosive in the kicking game. So this is going to be another area that's going to be very challenging, for us. Overall, I think this is an outstanding team. And I think it's going to be a real challenge for us in many, many ways in terms of who we're playing as well as who we are in terms of what we need to do. From a quarterback standpoint, which I know this is the first question you're going to ask, we're sort of down to 2 guys here. Cooper Bateman and Blake Barnett are probably the 2 guys that we're getting ready to play in this game. And that's the way it's going to be for right now. We're going to try to continue to develop all of our guys. And when we make this choice, we make this decision, it's with what's going to give us the best chance to win this game, but it's also, about future development of our players. And we want to play the guy that's the most ready to give us the best chance, but we also want to continue to develop guys that can compete at this position in the future. And that's kind of where it is right now. So there's really nothing else to talk about or nothing else to say. I know they're going to give you a depth chart, which you guys will just absolutely love, which, I know that it used to be we created a depth chart. Now you guys create the depth chart based on what you think, so that's okay too. Just know that what you think doesn't count. Yeah.
Start in the back with Cecil.
Since you answered our first question, second question is running backs. Is that the same sort of situation? Are you down to 1, down to 2?
Well, we've always played 2 guys here, and I think that the 2 guys that we'll play in this game is Bo Scarborough and Damian Harris. They're the guys that have been in the program longest, and they've had the best camps. And we have 2 young guys. Both of the freshman running backs are guys that we want to continue to try to develop, and they both could see action in the game as well.
just in the last couple of practices, we've seen Bradley Bozeman get some work at center. Is that an ongoing competition between him and Ross, or is Bradley the guy at the center with Ross at right guard?
It's on the depth chart. So we're going to play Bradley at center and Ross at right guard. So, we've kind of, it really wasn't a competition at center. It's really was more of what's the best combination of guys, for us to play. So that's kind of how it is.
Go with Michael right here in the middle.
Just with Cooper, how far has he come as a quarterback, and how ready is he to play these kind of important snaps?
Well, I think the big thing that Cooper has a great knowledge of the offense, really manages things well when he's out there because of his knowledge and experience. I think he's continued to improve his passing ability, and we have a lot of confidence in him. So we feel good about the progress he's made. I don't think any of us are satisfied with any part of our team right now in terms of trying to continue to improve and develop. And certainly quarterback's not any different. And the quarterbacks themselves probably would tell you the same thing.
Back in front here with Dwayne.
Goes just about Hurts. Obviously, you narrowed it down to two, but what did Jalen show you throughout that even had him in it this deep in the competition?
Well, Jalen's got a tremendous future. I think he's got great ability. I think that what you have to be really concerned about is a guy ready to go out there and not just do things that he can do, but can he run the offensive team? If the back's lined up on the wrong side, is he going to put him on the right side? Is he going to be able to point out the protection right so we can pick up the blitz? These things are things that we want to continue to be able to develop, in the players so that when they go out on the field, they can have success. Jalen Hurts has tremendous ability. We are not giving up on that ability, and hopefully we'll be able to develop it so that at some point in time this season he's going to be a productive player for us.
Front row on the left with Ken.
I wanted to ask you about Trevon Diggs, getting time on both sides of the ball in camp. Talk about his skill set a little bit, but also just having the aptitude to be able to do some of that.
Right. Well, Trevon Diggs is a very talented guy. We certainly feel like he's a guy that can make plays as a receiver. So we want to try to utilize that ability. We're a little deeper at receiver right now, so it would really be a little more difficult to get him the playing time that we feel he deserves. So we have some depth issues in the secondary. He played defensive back very well in high school. Actually talked about playing defensive back when he was being recruited. So we thought he was the best guy to try to get some repetitions with that could help us in the secondary. And he's handled it very well. I think he was doing extremely well until, we put a game plan in, and now the formations change that they run on the other team, and the adjustments change a little bit. So, and that's usually the challenge with young players, especially a guy that was just learning the position to start with. But he's a bright guy. He's very conscientious. It's important to him, and we think that he can develop into being a really good player for us on both sides of the ball.
In the middle with Alex.
To ask you about Blake Barnett. What did he do during this competition that made you think he's ready to obviously get on the field? And what are some things you still want to see from him before you name him a starter?
Well, I think that in Blake's case, he's been here for a little longer, a year and a half, and so he's got a little better knowledge of the offense, and he's more confident, I think, in what he's doing. He's gotten bigger and stronger, and he's throwing the ball effectively. So, one of our strengths on our team, I feel, is the receivers, and we want to continue to try to have an offense that can create explosive plays through those guys. So, Blake has really been an effective passer for us. So we want to continue to try to develop him and see where his knowledge and experience will take him relative to whether we feel like he can be a winning player at that position or not.
Last one, unless somebody else has.
Hey, Coach, you said that this game has somewhat of a bowl-like atmosphere to it, and your team has certainly played in a lot of games like this over the years. How much value do you put on having a roster that's experienced with these neutral site Power 5 openers?
Well, I think that there's probably some benefit to it. I don't know exactly specifically what. I think this is one of those things where sometimes we think that there may be some effect, but the bottom line is how you focus, how you're prepared, the kind of respect that you have for your opponent, how you go out there and practice each day so that you can go take it to the game and play is really, really important. But I also think that I would say to you that we have a lot of young players who are in the depth chart who may not be starting, but certainly going to add depth to the team. And how those guys can sort of progress is going to be very, very important, I think, to the long-term, success that this team can have, because we need a lot more players to be able to play winning football than we have right now, regardless of whether we've had bowl experience or not, whether it's on special teams or in some other role. So these are important factors in developing a team, and we don't have that kind of experience in some positions right now, and I think it's going to be important that we can develop that with some of the young players that we have.
Last one, down front here with John Senior.
Sorry, another quarterback question. Some coaches have philosophy they want to get it settled early as they can in fall camp or whatever, but you guys seem to have thrived with them both seeing what they do in the game. What are the benefits to letting them, maybe giving them both a chance to prove in the game?
Well, because I can't tell you how they're going to play in a game, especially the guys that have never played in a game. Cooper has played some in the game here, which, I think that experience is certainly a benefit to him. But I don't know how these other guys are going to play in a game. And some guys go in the game and they play a lot better. Rohan Davey was a guy that, I used to, go like this in practice, because some days he would throw the ball end over end in practice and then go throw for 400 yards in the game. And I kind of like that, even though it was hard to take sometimes in practice. But you knew the guy was always going to sort of play well in the game because he was that kind of competitor. And so I can't tell you that about two of our guys because they've never played in a game before. So that's the reason that it's hard to sort of think that you have a crystal ball and you can look in it and say, because of these things, a certain person's going to play better. I don't know that. I don't have that ability to do that. And sometimes you can be very risk aversive in a situation like this, and maybe you don't find out. And maybe sometimes you try to find out, and that can backfire on you too. So there's no perfect way to do it.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.